and welcome to today's lesson on rudiment and theory of music. Today we are going to talk about music, the general introduction to music, and then definition to music, and then the theories of music. Now we'll also discuss about the following: what music is, and then the theory of music, what it is, and the purpose of music theory. We also talk about how music is perceived, and then finally the means of investigating and analyzing music. These ones will be very brief, and then we'll move on from there. Now, we take the first one: what music is, or what is music. But let's listen to this piece.
Somebody's knocking at your door. Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Somebody's knocking at your door. Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Can't you hear him? Somebody's knocking at your door. Can't you hear him? Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Knocks like Jesus. Somebody's knocking at your door. Knocks like Jesus. Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Can't you trust him? Somebody's knocking at your door. Can't you trust him? Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door. Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door.
So, somebody's knocking at your door is the piece we just listened to. What really comes into your mind when you listen to such a piece? What really comes into your mind when you listen to pieces like this? What does the body goes through? Now, music. What is music? When I was doing my research, I found so many definitions of music, and then I tried to jot some down. Music is an art form and a cultural activity whose medium is very sound. In the normal perspective, music is very broad, and then it is being defined as an organized sound. Okay, music is very broad, and then it's being defined as an organized sound. Sometimes it is very audible. Sometimes you may listen to a particular music and then you fall in love with the music. Sometimes too, you listen to a music and then you'll be like, you've not heard the music before because of certain features in the music, but it makes the music very unique in what it means. Now, in a general definition, music include common elements such as pitch. Now, the pitch talks about, or it governs the melody and harmony. Okay, so in the music that you just listened to it, you heard a melody in it. Okay, you heard a melody in the music. It also talks about the rhythm which is being associated with the tempo, the pattern and then articulation. And then we also have the dynamics, how loudness and softness in music can really be. And then we also have the qualities of music, which are the texture and the timbre. And then the timbre talks about the color of the music. Okay, the color of the music. The texture is the quality of the music. Now, initially I said music in its broad sense is an organized sound. Yes, this definition is coherent regardless of the era, the style, and the culture, or the mechanics of the musical organization. Now, each historical era produces music in its artistic expression of its own time and its own musical aura. So, the study of music theory is the means by which we investigate all of these things. So, when we study music, we are being exposed to all of these things. And then, as we move on in our other lessons, we'll be exposing some of these things. Music, in general form, are activities and the creation of words. In the olden generation, at a point in time, some people described music as not music. Yes. And then um, music in the general forms are describing an art or a cultural activity, which includes the creation of works of music, the criticisms and the study of the history of music, the aesthetic examination of music, and so on. Now, the creation, the performance, the significance, and even the definition of music vary according to every culture and the social context. Yes. So, indeed, well, some music were being criticized. Yeah. Um, Example like Beethoven's Grosse Fugue String Quartet in 1825. It was being criticized. And then there are other popular music and traditional music, other arts music too, which went through all these things. Now, let's look at the next one, which is talking about the theory. What is the theory about? Music theory is the study of music and its organizational characteristics. So, if I study music and then the characteristics that makes up music, I am really doing a theory of music. Because if I'm able to define and examine aspects of music with respect to time, then I am really into the theory of music. So some of the aspects of music includes how do I, he asks himself, how do I perceive music orally? When I hear music, how do I feel? How do I perceive it? How do I embrace the music? The second one talks about the aesthetics perception. How do I experience music aesthetically? How do I experience music very beautifully? And then the last one is how do I symbolize music visually? When I see a piece of music, how am I able to symbolize it? We learn to associate sounds with symbols or notations. Yes, it's very common. So to increase our ability to perceive music at levels of increasing depth and comprehension, both in our experimental mind and our analytical mind. So, music theory, or to be a music theorist, I have to be able to appreciate music orally, appreciate music beautifully, and then when I see a music, appreciate it visually. That makes me very good theories. We move on to the next one, the purpose of music theory. What purpose do I have when I am studying music as a theory? Well, the study of music yields into three exertions. One is I learn music, or I learn to analyze music in order to gain an understanding of how a composer creates a piece of music. So I gain an understanding to a particular music, how the music is, what the music is really talking about, and then what it entails. The second one is how I learn to analyze music so that I can be able to deepen my understanding either as a musician or as a consumer. So I learn the purpose of my theory is to learn to analyze music so that I can be able to deepen my understanding. What is the purpose of you studying music as a theory? So the first one is to gain understanding, and then the second one is to deepen that understanding that you've gained. Now the last one is the employment of knowledge gained in the study of music to stimulate and enhance our own creativity. So the analysis that I am doing, the studies that I am doing, I am employing the knowledge so that it will aid me in my creativity if I want to create a particular music. Yes. But among the community of musicians, well, there are more sublime to our interpretations. And this creates a more meaningful experience for our audience. And that is how things like this work. And as a consumer, if you're a consumer, I've created my music and you're an audience listening to my music, the more I understand the music, the more my ability is being refined to evaluate the music. Okay, so that is my purpose. The first one is to gain real understanding to what I'm doing, and then the second one is to deepen the understanding that I am really getting. The third one is to employ the knowledge that I've gained in the upper two to stimulate and enhance my creativity. Let's move on to how music is perceived. How do I perceive music? At the most primary level, I experience or we experience movie and music in five principal distinctive characteristics. How? Before we can perceive a music, we just listen to a piece of music. When you hear that kind of music, what comes into our mind? Do we just enjoy the music? Do we just have the music in our own and then leave it for it to go? No. But we experience music by five principles, five distinctive principal characteristics. The first one is talking about the pitch. We perceive the sensation of sound or the tone. It's relatively high or low. So we can just listen to the music as it unfolds and how it moves with a highness or lowness, and that is the pitch of the music. One of my professors said, well, before I can really listen to music, I just need to stand in front of a cliff and look at how diagrammatically the cliff is moving. Then I can use them to actually write my melody. Yes, it's the same. You just look at how high or low the sound of the music is. Now, the second one is the timbre. We perceive various qualities of the colors of sound. when I hear a particular instrument in a particular music, I know that okay, this particular instrument has a peculiar sound, and so this is the instrument that is playing, because you can really distinguish between a guitar playing and a trumpet playing. They have a very peculiar sound, and each of them instigates a new and a distinctive sound, so that when you hear, you can really tell the quality of sound or the color of this particular sound. Then we go to the intensity. We perceive difference in volume or sound pressure level. That's the intensity. At a point in time, there's a very gushing volume. At a point in time, it will move down. That is the intensity of music. We look at the fourth one, that is the duration. Now, the duration is how much time sounds, or how much silence and sounds. Okay, so we perceive how much time sounds or the silence it occupies within the particular music. That's the duration. So we can have very long and very short and very silent notes in a music. That tells us the duration of the music. And the last one is talking about the time, the event in time. We perceive pitch collections or the event in the context of musical space. That's the time. Okay, so music runs with time, and the time tells us a lot of things that goes on into the music. Now, the last thing we'll talk about in this exercise is the means of investigating and analyzing music. How do we investigate? How do we analyze? Examining music involves evaluation. Every music that you hear has an evaluation. In a concert, an adjudicator will just listen to your piece and evaluate it. In an original composition, an adjudicator will just look at the piece and evaluate it. At any level of experience, this begins with personal taste and preference. Well, as we learn more, our method of evaluation will evolve, and then they will become more fluent and more critical, because the more you study the theory of music, the more you have a wider taste of music. Because sometimes at the beginning you'll be listening to music and you feel like, this kind of music is not too nice in my ears. But as we've already said, we are going to treat music in its beautiful state, and how we are going to perceive it orally, and how we are going to visualize the music. So clearly, over time and study, this will shape our perception and our taste, regardless of what general directions this may take. And any study begins with an examination of the fundamental precepts or principles. Do you get it? So music is no different from this. And in the nature of perception, the basic contrast in the craftsmanship in musical construction, all must be mastered in the study of music. And when we talk about the means of investigating music, we have two broad approaches that are employed in a study of music. The first one is talking about the composition. The composition is either you actively creating your own work, or imitating or emulating the works of earlier composers. And this is very active. This is an active knowledge and a procedure. So you will be composing using the elements that you've learned. When you study the theory of music, you'll be exposed to the art of composition, either by actively creating your works, or by imitating or emulating the works of earlier composers. And then we have the second one. You'll be able to analyze musical pieces. So we learn to employ commonly accepted techniques and specialized language to describe musical organizations. And these techniques are a shared analytical language throughout the community of musicians, and it is a conceptual knowledge and evaluation. So you'll be able to analyze a very broad work, and you'll be able to analyze pieces that you come across. So this or both approaches will evolve as the student acquires more knowledge, skills, and greater understanding in the music theory as will be unfolding. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you next time in the next lesson. And our next lesson is going to be the element of rhythm, sound, symbol, and time. Please stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.